Most React developers can build components, but not everyone can write clean, maintainable React code. If you have ever been stuck in a code base that feels like spaghetti, or if you have fought against endless props dealing, or just wonder there has to be a better way to structure this code, then this session is for you. I'm super duper excited to bring this 15 days of React design pattern in front of you. Let's make clean code easy, look easy, coding easy. And I hope that as part of this initiative, you are going to get a great grip with React and will be able to start writing projects with much cleaner code. Today, we are at day zero. At day zero, I'm introducing this initiative to you. I'm going to go through what are the things we'll be covering in next 15 days from day 1 to day 15. What are the different patterns and how those patterns will be really helpful to you. I'm going to explain them all. Also, before you go there, I want to give you a quick refresher on React. This is not a React course, by the way. If you want to learn React ground up like a course syllabus way, I already have a playlist for you. You can go ahead and check out. I had created that a few years back, but still all those concepts are very much relevant, and also created a bunch of React 19 videos in the same playlist. But this time we are going to do something entirely different. We are going to learn React keeping React's design pattern in the front. It is so easy to get started with React, understanding the components and making sure that components talk to each other using props, state, etc. But it is equally hard to keep your those components clean. It is hard to write maintainable code. It is hard to write extendable code. So the objective of this initiative, 15 days of React design patterns, is that each day we are going to take one pattern. We are going to first talk through without the pattern how you are going to solve a problem, and then I'll be explaining the pattern in such a way that you will understand what kind of differences you are going to make if you understand the pattern and write the code much more cleanly. Does it sound awesome? If so, let me know in the comment below. I'm very excited. I'm sure you are equally as well. Let us now start with a React refresher. What is React? Why does it exist and why should we care about it? So what's the simplest way that you can define React if somebody asks you like what is React? You can probably say okay, React is a declarative component based JavaScript library for building user interfaces. That's good, but that's too verbose, isn't it? Because there are a lot of terms that are hidden in it. One is like declarative, another is component based, then there is a library, and that is for the user interfaces. Now let's break each of this down. Let's first understand what does declarative means, and let us understand that with a beautiful story. Let's imagine there is someone like me or like you who is thinking about making a YouTube video today, and suddenly his wife comes in and then asking for a cup of coffee. And this guy who was thinking about creating a YouTube video suddenly has to disappear. And after a certain point in time, that guy comes back with a cup of coffee and serving it to his wife. Wife is very happy after getting the coffee, and the story ends here. But the moral of the story over here, the wife came in and asked the thoughtful guy, hey, can you make me a coffee? Never ever instructed like how the coffee should be done. Wanted a coffee and at the end of it got the coffee back. This is what the declarative way of working. In the declarative way, you just state like what you want. You really don't state how to get it done. She wanted a coffee, she got the coffee. She never mentioned how the coffee should be made. Neither the guy asked how he needs to create the coffee. The other side of the declarative programming is called imperative. Now let's take the same characters but in a different kind of set. The same guy thinking about the YouTube video, the same wife comes inside the room asking for coffee, but at the same time also being very specific about how the coffee should be made. She is asking to take the pan, boil some water, give some coffee powder, no milk because it's a black coffee, a pinch of sugar, boil more and then serve hot. Then the guy goes back and this time he come back with the iPad and note down all the instruction that the wife had given one by one, like taking the pan, boiling the water, and etc. After that, he goes back, and then finally he comes back after a moment passed away with the hot coffee to serve to wife. So in this case, what you have seen, the wife is not only asking for a cup of hot black coffee, she is also asking to take a note of how this coffee should be prepared. So we are not only about what she needs, but how she needs. So that's the basic difference between a declarative and imperative. In declarative programming, you describe what you want, but do not specify how to get it done, right? The coffee scenario, first scenario. Second scenario, in the imperative programming, you describe what you want by specifying the instruction on how to do it. That was the second scenario. If you talk about programming languages, the programming language like React is a declarative language. Why? Because in React, through the state of the component, you declare like what you need as a behavior in your React application. And then React goes at the background, perform all the updates required to the DOM. You don't have to really touch the DOM directly and get the things done for you, right? So that's how you tell React what needs to be done. You don't tell React how it has to be done at the DOM level. React takes care of it. So that's the first part of our definition, that is declarative. How about the second part of the definition, which is component based? What is a component? Component is a single unit that does usually one task and does it really well. Think about a big monolithic component for an application. What is the problem of having a big monolithic component? There are a lot of problems, right? If there are multiple developers working on a big monolithic component, there are higher chances that they might override each other's code, they might face merge conflicts, they might spend a lot of time with bad developer experience. The second problem would be like fixing a small issue might result into breaking something else on the other part of the application that nobody is noticing. Also, the reusability, as it is a big monolithic component, one part of the application or one part of the component cannot be reused in another part because you are not separating it out. So it's always good to break a big monolithic component into smaller singular unit and multiple components. That's what we're seeing in this picture. So in React, a single component is a mixture of user interfaces and the business logic. User interfaces usually we write in terms of HTML and CSS, and the business logic for the web is JavaScript. That's where React uses a special syntax called JSX, where you can bring HTML, CSS, and JavaScript all together. And that's why one component does one job, providing its own user interface, providing its own business logic, providing its own style as a single unit. That's what the component is in React. Let's take an example. The thing that you're seeing on your screen is an application. It's a school application. When the result is out, the school has provided all the result on this portal so that parents can go ahead, search their kid's name, and start seeing like what is their score. For example, there is a search bar, and at top of that there is a nav bar where you can see the e-results. Then there is a logo at the right side, then search bar, then there is a grouping of the grade. For each of the grade there is a name of the student and the score of the student. Very simple application. Now if you have to break this application in terms of components, because again you don't want one component where everything should be coded, one component where the entire UI and his business logic is there. Now you want to rationally break this one into multiple components. How will you go about it? How are you going to create the smart components? That's where the design pattern come into picture. But at a high level, let's take a look. Now if you see these borders that I have given on the same screen, this signifies the components. For example, the red border that you're seeing at the outside is the main component. Let's call it as app. Inside that there is a header or the nav bar where you have that student logo, e-results written. Right side there is a tapaScript logo is there, right? That's a nav. Below nav bar there is a results area. Inside results area there is a search. Below search there is a score area. Inside score there are individual scores grouped by, right? So this is how you can break the things in the component. Now as I told, there is an app now has a nav bar and a result. I'm already saying app has a nav bar. If you have taken my 40 days of JavaScript initiative, I have taught you about object-oriented programming. And one of the principles that I spoke over there called composition. That's a has a relationship, right? A vehicle has an engine. The vehicle has doors. So here, the app has nav bar. The app has sidebar. The app has result. The result has search bar, right? So there is a composition that exists. So that's why when you depict the composition of components in React, you form a hierarchy or a component tree, which might look like this. At the top of the tree, the topmost component, which is app. Inside app, we have nav and the results. component. Inside results component, I have the search bar and the scores. Inside score, there is a score component. Inside score component, there is a score heading, score list. That's how you imagine your component relationship and the component hierarchy. So this is why React is component based, and each of the component can have their private data, which we call state, and two components can talk to each other by passing some data, which we call props. If you're new to React, you don't have to really understand state, props, all this thing now, because when we are going to talk about design patterns, each of the design patterns, picking them one by one, you will learn about state, props, and how to deal with them in the most cleanest way in your code. Okay, now the last part is about the user interface library. Yeah, React is an user interface library. Its job is to provide you all the facilities, all the utensils so that you can build component based architecture, thus the user interface. However, the application is not just about the user interface. There are multiple other things that are required for an user interface to be usable. For example, you might need routing. For a multi-page application, you need the data fetching mechanism. You want to optimize the build. You need complex state management. You might need auth. You might need notification management. You might need theming. There are varieties of things required. Now, React has a vast ecosystem. There are a bunch of libraries have been built parallel to React library so that you can consume those libraries for facilitated routing, facilitated testing, data fetching, building, state management, complex state management, notification, practically anything that you want, right? Along with React. Also, there are React based frameworks like Next.js, React Router DOM framework mode, coming from Remix, are all fantastic framework React based. Whether you use a React ecosystem with bunch of libraries or you use a React based framework, you have to understand React very well. You have to know the design patterns to keep your code clean, maintainable. That's the whole reason we are talking about 15 days of React design patterns. I hope it makes sense to you now. Have you heard about the term called code smell? The basic meaning of the term code smell means the code might be working right now, but there are some problem, there are some hidden problem that you probably able to smell right now, not able to get to what exactly the problem, but that problem will be so big in the future that will make you cry. Okay? So that's what the code smelling means. So in React, when you say React code smelling, it means that you are looking into a code which probably working right now, but written in such a way that if you want to extend it, you want to create more features on top of it, you want to build something based on it, there will be scenarios where this code will be broken. Okay, to safeguard from this itself, the design patterns come into the picture. Then what do we mean by design patterns? That's the next question. See, the design patterns are not the written rules by React. I would say the design patterns are something that is created by you or me or someone like you or me, right? We would have figured out there is a better way of solving a problem. There are multiple ways that you can solve a problem. Now, there will be better ways to solve the problem. There will be one or two better ways, or there will be the one best way of solving a problem. And if we can articulate the pattern in which that problem can be solved in the best way, that become the design pattern to solve that problem. And if we can make that pattern public for every other developer to look into, get accustomed to, and start using, then that design pattern become a public design pattern for people to adopt and start using. So like that, there are several design patterns available, not only in React, in probably in all the programming languages. But as we're talking about React, I have picked up 15 such design patterns that I'm going to talk about in this initiative. What are those? So day one, we're going to talk about the container presenter pattern. It's a pattern which will help you to stop the messy components. You will split the UI and logic the right way. So this is where we'll be learning a very basic pattern and make sure that we will make a clear differences by following this pattern and by not following this pattern. The next one would be the control versus uncontrolled component pattern. In this one, we are going to talk about mostly the forms. Forms are the integral part of any applications, right? Be it web or on mobile. We would love user to fill up forms. Now, how to create and handle form in the right way, how to do state management right way with the forms. So forms in React, where we'll be learning control versus the chaos. In most of the cases, if we don't do things right way, it will be chaos. We'll make sure that we'll stop all those chaos using control versus uncontrolled component patterns. Let me also tell you, With React 19, there are a lot of improvements in terms of how form is being handled. While explaining control versus uncontrolled components patterns, some of those pattern of using React 19 forms will come by default. On day 3, we'll talk about compound components pattern. In component compounds pattern, we will build flexible APIs. APIs in the sense on the user interfaces itself. For example, accordion set or tabs or radio buttons. How to handle them like beautiful APIs on your user interfaces itself, right? So that's the one we'll be learning. Day 4 will be on a pattern called render props. That's where we'll be learning about reusable logic, but with a twist. Okay, so let's wait for day 4. Day 5 is going to be on higher order components. Not many may be using higher order components today, but I want to cover that because in many interviews, the React interviews, people are asking about higher order components. And the higher order components, you can say, as an ancestor of React hooks, that will be our following patterns. But before you understand the pattern of React hooks, it will be good to get into the higher order components pattern, do some hands on and understand about it. Day 6, of course, about the custom hooks pattern, why hooks exist, how the functional way of handling React component plus the React hook can solve a lot of problems. We are going to learn about them with hands on. Next one would be the provider pattern. Here we're going to talk about the context APIs that React gives. We're also going to talk about the React 19 APIs with respect to the context APIs and what is the best way of deal with the provider pattern. Day 8 will be the state reducer pattern. When your application state become complex, how to tame the complex state. The state reducer pattern is the way that you do it. We are going to learn about that. After that, we'll be learning about the pub/sub pattern. We'll be building something cool while explaining this pattern on day 9. This is the way that component talk without any kind of direct connections between them. So there is a pattern called observer and or the pub/sub pattern. On day 10, we are going to talk about multiple patterns together that related to the performance of your React applications. On day 11, we are going to talk about the slot pattern. Slot pattern is the design system superpower. We are going to talk about it with examples and projects. Day 12 is going to be about the hooks factory or the strategy pattern. On day 6, we learn about how to do custom hooks, how to solve use cases. Day 12 will be one level deeper than that. We will see, like, using one hook, how can we establish many behaviors like the strategy in React. Going to talk about in day 12. Day 13 will be the facade pattern. Here we learn how to simplify APIs, how to wrap the complex feature behind a facade. That's what the facade pattern is about. We're going to talk about that. Day 14 will be about the error boundary, and day 15 will be about the suspense, fallback, boundaries, etc. So this what is day 1 to day 15. Are you excited? If you are excited, if you are going to be with me, please like this video, post a comment and share this with your friends, with your buddies that something like this is getting started. I am not the first person to teach you React. I am not the first person to talk about design pattern. But I will make sure that if you go through all this 15, you are going to write React code like a boss. You are going to do code reviews of your peers like a boss. You will have all the confidence to face your interviewers like a boss. So be a boss, be with me, be with tapaScript. Let's learn React the right way, the design pattern way. In day 1, the next video, we are going to get started with the container presenter pattern. On the same day, I am going to also give you certain resources. If you have done 40 days of JavaScript, my last initiative, I had given you an ebook where you could mark the progress of your daily learning. You can take notes, you can do tasks and all these things. I'm going to follow the same thing. This is how the patterns are. That pattern work for me, work for you. I'm going to follow the same pattern for this initiative as well. I'm going to give you that so that you can take notes of my each day session. You can write examples, you can do tasks and everything. Up for it? Excellent. So I can't wait to go to day 1. See you on day 1.